choose to walk in the spirit. It's difficult dealing with all of the ignorance. But in the Bible, it's still talking about the Bible. What is the benefit? Everything about you counterfeit. There ain't no rebuttal you can counter with. On the internet, you the master teacher. In real life, you powerless. Keep it real with you, I don't have time for this. I ride for this, my forefathers died for this. They cry for this opportunity presently I possess, and right now you are the opposite. If you walk in love, you fulfill the law. Don't get involved and you ain't giving it all. If you ever think it's cool to threaten another man's family, then you already lost. Chemtrails got aluminum, heavy metal saturate the atmosphere. Manhattan Project, time travel, Mandela effect, what happened here? GMO food processing to the whole world become obsolete. A black man who believes in Jesus, got my own team taking shots at me. You trespassing on property that you don't fully understand properly. All the back and forth, that's not for me, that's for ROC and the War Machine. If we ride together, then we ride together. If we can't do it, I'd rather leave. I still stand on the word of God till the day I die and no longer breathe. We trapped inside the diaspora, nightmares of the massacre. Cold sweat, I'm below deck in the middle passage, just a passenger. Revolutionary hardcore, liberation, that's a hard job. You ain't ready, you a oddball. Keep your mouth closed like lockjaw. I learned trying to bring people together on the same page, make them separate. All the talk about reconciliation, when the time come, you hesitate. If Jesus was able to sit at the table with a bunch of sinners, you very fake. Your steps ordered by the Lord, and how it was yesterday, a big mistake. We the city sitting on the hill. Guess it all depends on how you live. Guess it all depends on how you feel, and we both know that ain't God's will. I stood on what I felt was right. I don't never question if God's real. Trapped inside this matrix, I'm about to pop the red and the blue pill.
Bless them which persecute you. Bless and curse not. Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep. Be of the same mind one toward another. Mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, said the Lord. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. Romans 12:14-21.
You're not hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, you're not Manny. I am Peyton Manning level, I'm on GOAT status. I think I'm the baddest mother lover ever walk on this planet. Damn it, you could never see me, you could never beat me, you could never be me, disrespect me, and I'm eating all of your pizza. I know I'm not right, I know I'm not white, I know I'm gon' call the popo on you if you hit me. I don't fight, I'm a rapper, I don't write. Rio, you got all that hype, that's the stuff that I don't like. Why you laughing at my height? I wish I could slap your face. You just think you're so amazing, you just think that you're the greatest. Why you fucking Tom Brady? I am Peyton Manning, end of conversation. You just hating, I am Peyton Manning, say it. I am Peyton Manning, say it. No, Dibble God plan, that's a Drake line. Beat a midget up, that's a hate crime. 8 towns on 3 game time. Got the trunk knocking from the baseline. I'm all about the money, baby, crocker cake time. Chopsticks on deck, no Shanghai. 4-5, you come to my waistline. Keep the 4-5 tip by my waistline. You soft in the middle like fruit pie. I know it hard for you to walk a straight line. You wouldn't throw trays in the food fight. That's what I heard through the grapevine. I know you don't mind wasting your time. I would just prefer you didn't waste mine. You gon' get what coming to you in due time. Little pussycat running from the K9. You're not hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, you're not hating Manny, hating category mandatory for me to tell you that you were very boring. And the moral of the story, I wish I could just ignore you, but I gotta burn your body, put you in the crematorium. And I'm the only audio inside the auditorium. And when I'm finished with you, you will not have no memorial. You wanna be Luigi, but you're not ready for Mario. And no scenario, running circles around your cardio. And that's a body blow, it's not a secret. Everybody know that you ain't coming close. I leave you comatose and you become a ghost. I overdose, I gotta overload. That's when the windows of heaven open up for me with the overflow. And I can feel the power moving within every last chromosome. Battle right around the corner, you already know it's on. Understand me, you're not Peyton Manning, you're not Peyton Manning. Woo!
Peace, peace, peace. What it is, it's your brother Tyvon Swano, aka the Orthodox Moore, aka the Seven Pillar Service, aka Brother Moore. Wishing you all peace and blessings, fam. I hope you're having a good morning and a good day. Real quick, I'm going to address a couple of concepts I've been dealing with in my comment section from some concerned citizens in the nation of Israel. And so I want to address a couple of concepts for people because this is really important in slowing down conversations. I notice a lot of people rely on fallacious argumentation as if it's solid arguments, or if it's a solid way to argue with people or to converse with people, etc. And in a scholastic setting, fallacious arguments are never taken seriously. So, like, a fallacious argument is the sign of no scholarship. So a lot of people aren't debaters. I see a lot of people turning down debates, etc. I'm actually a debater, right? I've debated a lot of places on a lot of big platforms, defending the Bible, etc. Defending a lot of things, as a matter of fact. Defending Israelite and Moorish nationalities and whatnot, culture, etc. And one thing I can tell you for a fact is that fallacious argumentation is not taken seriously. And when I encounter it in a debate, I nullify it instantaneously. I will identify the fallacy, and I will kick the legs out from underneath it. So there's a particular fallacy in encountering this pew conversation that I'm not only encountering from people like Majors, Kelly, Benai, etc. I'm also encountering from people in their camps or people that support them. And so for the people that support them, I'm doing all this stuff for you at this juncture, right? I pretty much know what to expect from Majors, Kelly, and Benai at this juncture, right? So I'm slowing this conversation down for y'all, right? Because there's information to be had. Like I said in the previous video, if I was in their shoes, I would want someone to assume that I have a lack of information and not a lack of integrity. So I'm going to assume that they have a lack of information. And so I'm going to supply more information for everybody involved. That being said, I don't really expect a whole lot of people in these camps to actually accept these arguments or accept this information. But there's going to be a few. There's going to be a few honest people who would prefer to walk to Nineveh versus take a fish. So shout out to them. The Most High knows who they are. I do not. But with that being said, I'm going to break down this concept of special pleading real quick, and then I'm going to play 3 videos that kind of break this concept down. Real quick, let me share my screen. And I didn't even add any special bells and whistles to this joint. But yeah, special pleading, it is not scholarship. It is not scholarship. And we need to understand that as a community. This is why certain arguments are not taken seriously, because they're made from a fallacious standpoint. Like the title of the video says, like special pleading is not scholarship and fallacies are not facts. Many arguments we make in public are based on fallacies. They're based off of opinion, and they're not based upon facts that you've attempted to falsify, or that we've attempted to falsify. Right? So we need to understand why certain arguments aren't taken seriously, right? And why people will come back and make certain arguments to our community. So I'm noticing a lot of people don't understand why Abu can why he makes legitimate argumentation. In a scholastic world, his questioning makes a lot of sense. His methodology makes a lot of sense. In like the court of public opinion, in a place to where I can appeal to your emotions and I can make fallacious arguments, etc., whatnot, and they can stick. Yeah, I can see where Abu's questions don't make a lot of sense, and where a lot of arguments I'm hearing people are going to soon make sense. But again, these are two different realms of thought. Two completely different realms of thought. You have the court of public opinion, then you have the court of scholastic opinion. One has a rigorous set of rules. The other one is just gauged by an emotional needle. So real quick, I want to help people understand something, right? There's this concept of special pleading. Special pleading is an attempt to exempt oneself from a set of criteria they expect to be applied to other people and circumstances. One more time. Special pleading is an attempt to exempt oneself from a set of criteria they expect to be applied to other people and circumstances. Example, sure, breaking the rules should be punished, but she is my daughter. I know she didn't mean to do it. So one more time. Sure, breaking the rules should be punished, but she is my daughter. I know she didn't mean to do it. So there's rules that apply to everyone except the daughter. That's special pleading. So I'm going to show some examples of special pleading and whatnot. And shout out to the family in the chat, because our conversation in the comment section, it kind of it reminded me of it let me know where people were at in understanding this concept, and it gave me an opportunity to point this out. So I appreciate the learning experience. We're going forward. So there's a popular fallacious argument based upon special pleading that I keep hearing coming from Kelly, etc., which is first and foremost that no one's ever gone through what he's put up, and that couldn't be anything further from the truth. Not only has Abu gone through it, but so I literally sent his work to another scholar and had it reviewed. Somebody who was familiar with Solotero and La Jamiada, which is a Latin text written in Arabic. And yeah, it's the picture you see on the top left, right? That's my man's work. So in this case, the special pleading is this. So Abu is supposed to be an evil individual because he sent a picture of the pew blank, and then he sent a picture of the pew with highlights to it to scholars to go check out. This is supposed to make Abu lack integrity, right? Now, my man, Pastor Kelly, he created this. This is hand-drawn markings. This is not filling in or highlighting the markings. This is a recreation of hand-drawn markings. These aren't even the same shapes as the markings on the pews. These aren't even the same shapes. You can see where he takes liberty with the shapes. to make them more in line with what he wants them to be in terms of sola trail. Now, he presented this to the people and to scholars. So if Abu is lacking in integrity because he showed the blank pews and then highlighted pews to scholars, what is Kelly's level of integrity for showing a hand-drawn set of markings and that aren't even over the blank pew? They're not even filling in the blank pew. They're not even overlaid. And showing them to everybody, including scholars. So saying that the one set of rules applies to Abu but doesn't apply to Kelly, now we're talking about a special pleading fan. At this juncture, nobody's going to take the arguments seriously. No serious people are, at least. No serious people are, at least. And you shouldn't expect them to. Because now we're talking about an emotional argument. The rules apply to you, but they don't apply to me. Okay. This isn't a logical conversation anymore. Okay. You shouldn't expect people to take you seriously at that juncture. Expect a side eye and for people to walk away. There's another set of special pleading I would like to give an instance to. It's this concept of when people have the nerve to fact check an argument made by that camp, right? They get hit with all kind of propaganda, and they get hit with all kind of smear campaigns and all kind of gaslighting and whatnot, like the brother Issachar, right? So Kelly goes in on the fact that Issachar uses the name Zombie. Teo and them came out and said that Inyame was a good name. And then literally came out and made a video showing how Inyame is the linguistic equivalent to Nzambi. Both of these terms are used. One is used in the Congo, and you see it's used on a Bible right there, right? If you're going to do missionary work in the Congo, you're going to use Nzambi, fam. If you're going to translate stuff in the Congo, you're going to use Nzambi to talk about God. Just like if you're in Ghana, like on the left, this is a gospel track and with using the New King James Version of the Bible. It's entitled Accept God. And the word for God is Inyame. So in Ghana, people doing missionary work, they're using Inyame for God, just like they're using Zombie for God when they go to the Congo. So this is what you call special pleading. This is what you call special pleading. It applies to one group, but not another. Here's another instance. I'm not going to show it. I'm not going to get into this fully here. I'll do this on a whole nother video. But so there was an argument that basically the Arabic had to be perfect in its penmanship. There couldn't be anything wrong with it whatsoever. It had to be perfect Arabic calligraphy. And if there was one jot or tittle out of place, oh no. That doesn't count. But when it came to people trying to make Hebrew arguments on the pew, and again, I'm somebody who actually makes an argument for Hebrew on the pews. I have my own argument for that. So I'm not somebody who disaffirms Hebrew. I'm someone who affirms Hebrew and has defended such on the pews, and have done so for over a year at this juncture. However, for instance, when I was making my defense, like I was actually talking to people like Zion Lex and whatnot on Garfield's channel, and Zion was going in on the arguments being made about the pews from the Hebrew side. from the Israelite side, going in and had every right to, because there is special pleading being done. Like, oh, you know what? We can start writing Hebrew backwards and it counts. We can start looking for it written in a whole nother direction than what it should be written in, and it's okay. But if there's one jot or tittle off with the Arabic, then we got to throw the whole thing out with the Arabic. But the Hebrew can be written backwards. That's special pleading, fam. The case being made is like, no, so slaves are gonna, you know what I'm saying, improvise how they can and have to, because they're in oppressed situations. But only if they're using Hebrew. If they're using Arabic, no, they're gonna. There's no reason that rule applies, huh? So, I'm hoping to do a couple of things here. I'm going to play a couple of videos to one, educate the people I was having a conversation with about the conversation we were talking about, but two, also simultaneously show instances and examples of special pleading and why these types of scholastic arguments or so-called arguments are not scholastic, and people don't take them seriously scholastically. Like, if you don't want people to laugh at you, don't make a laughable argument. Like, it's nice that we feel that we know something, but if we want people to take it seriously, we got to prove what we're talking about. We have to deliver the argument in such a way to where it's irrefutable. Don't give me the reasonable doubt argument. Give me the irrefutable one. Don't give me the I feels. Don't give me the feels versus reals. Give me the facts. Give me the facts. So with that, fam, I'm going to mute my mic, share my screen, and play a video from a Boost channel right quick from, I believe, 2020, December of 2020. Then I'm going to play a couple other videos behind that. Let's do it like this.
Greetings. Yesterday, I posted my video sharing that Professor David Bunis's level of agreement with the declarations of Pastor Majors about the pews was not as forceful and definitive as many had believed. In the short period since the release of that video, some have raised the gentle objection that Professor Bunis, noting that he did not say that the script is solitreo, is not the same as him explicitly denying that it's solitreo. Rather, he might have just been leaving the question open. Others have begun to downplay the significance of Professor Bunis's opinions either way. Therefore, I wanted to make one more quick video to clarify a few things. First, I want to show how much emphasis Pastor Majors put on Professor Bunis's purported confirmation during that Boom Church panel discussion back on November 22nd. Then I want to share a few more clarifications which Professor Bunis has put forth via email. So here I'm going to show a couple minutes of footage from the Boom Church panel discussion, which, as I said, took place on Sunday, November 22nd. Note in particular, as you watch this, note how Pastor Majors asserts that Professor Bunis confirmed Benaiah Israel's interpretation of the markings. Note how Pastor Majors says Professor Bunis backs the sentence that he presented. Note how he insinuates that it is this scholar who enables him to say what is on the pew. And note the way he treats this as practically a mic drop of a moment. Here you go.
But he actually confirmed that what you're saying and how you translated it was actually correct in how you translated it. So not only did it confirm what it sees, what it says here in, take or grasp the way of the Lord or God, he confirms the way you laid it out. And so we go to the next slide here. And so this is another aspect of it, because we had it tilted from, in landscape, but now this is vertical, the actual picture of it. So it kind of gives you more of a understanding of it. But so after all of that in the package sent to him, not only did you bring out, but he also it showed there was some other aspects within the pews that we didn't know. And it says here, thanks for the new look. Thanks for the new look at the characters. Looking at it, that says, it seems to me that you could also see Yisrael in the characters or in the pews. So not only does it says take a grasp of God, but it says take a grasp of Yah or God, Israel, with a bass voice, as you put it, or with a loud voice, meaning praise him loudly. That's what this means. So Abu asked, can we find a coherent sentence? Well, yeah, we just did. And not only that, we got a scholar to back it. And so at this point, I think all of y'all owe Pastor Kelly an apology. Not only do I think all of y'all owe Pastor Kelly an apology publicly, the same way you did those videos refuting the pews and it being Arabic, and the same way you was clowning him because he couldn't read Hebrew, and the same way you trying to say that clowning about a jet match and all this other stuff. Y'all need to issue a public apology, and you need to delete all of your videos because those videos are false. Now we got a real video from a real information from a real scholar to be able to say what's on the pews. With that, I don't have nothing else to say, y'all.
Okay, so with those clips in mind, let's now look at some emails from Professor Bunis himself. I'm going to show 3 emails, one of which someone shared with me, and the other 2 which were sent directly to me. The first email is actually one which Professor Bunis sent to Pastor Majors, and he sent it to him a week ago. It reads as follows, quote, "Dear Will, sorry not to get back to you after you wrote again. I'm very busy with a project I've got to finish up, and it's leaving me no time for anything else. I received an email from someone called, name redacted. I'll forward it. Maybe you've been in touch with him. He says he also thinks the inscription could say Yisrael, but we both think it's not in Solitreo script, but in regular Hebrew square letters. Best wishes, David." What's significant about that email is that he explicitly states that he does not think the pew he examined contains Solitreo script. Recall that the reason Pastor Majors reached out to specifically Professor David Bunis is because of his background with Solitreo. Different members of that Boom Church panel had even watched Bunis teach the Solitreo writing system. Yeah, so I really want to ask, can we agree that it would have been preferable that Pastor Majors also had shared that Bunis had told him explicitly that he did not consider the markings to constitute Solitreo script? Being that he sat on that email for a week, I hope it would at least be understandable and even forgivable if some wonder what else he might have kept to himself. But that aside, moving on, this is the second email, which was that I'm going to show. And this particular email was sent to someone else, but Professor Bunis copied both me and Pastor Majors. And this email reads as follows. Thanks for your email. Quote, "Thanks for your email. When I expressed a few hesitant words about what was written on the church pew, I had no idea it would help cause such a furor locally and maybe beyond. When I first saw the inscription, I thought it might be Arabic script. Then, after seeing some interpretations by others, it seemed to me that one might be able to read the Hebrew word Yisrael, that is, Israel, in it. I am far from sure about this, nor do I think that what seems to be some kind of inscription on the pew is in Solitreo script, or is necessarily in Hebrew at all. Judging from the reactions I've been receiving, my words were rather misrepresented on William Brown's program. Only part of our email correspondence was presented, and even that seems to have been partly misinterpreted. Peace to all from Jerusalem, cordially, David Burns." End quote. In this second email, Professor Bunis again makes clear that he does not think Solitreo script appeared on that pew. Also significant, in case some thought his suggestion that Israel appears on the pew might suffice as confirmation that Hebrew appears on the pew, in this second email, Professor Bunis made clear that he is far from sure about that. He also notes that he is not saying Hebrew of any sort necessarily appears on that pew at all. In short, when he made that suggestion about Israel, the word Israel, he was not making any sort of firm declaration. Rather, he was offering a soft suggestion for one possible interpretation of markings that can be interpreted in a variety of ways. And with that, finally, we turn to the third email. And this is an email which was sent directly to me by Professor Bunis. And it reads as follows, quote, "Dear Mr. Al-Manhatani, or Abdel Masih, thanks for your email. I'm sorry it took a while for me to reply. Basically, I confirm your understanding of my correspondence with William Brown. As I had written him in the beginning, the letters looked more Arabic than Hebrew to me, but I'm certainly no authority in Arabic paleography. Before writing you, I spoke with someone very familiar with the various Arabic and Hebrew scripts, and he was unable to read any Arabic or, frankly, Hebrew words out of the church pew inscriptions. When someone who had looked at the inscription showed us how he thought the Hebrew word for Israel or Yisrael might be read out of it, it looked to me like it might possibly be so, although I could not see this clearly without the markings and darkenings that he evidently added." Okay, and this next portion here, this is him quoting a portion of the email that I had sent to him. So he's quoting me here. "To your questions, did you in fact reach a firm conclusion that a discernible Hebrew phrase is on the relevant pew, or did you merely suggest possible interpretations of a collection of markings open to multiple interpretations? And did you support a reading that could be translated, 'take grasp of the Lord,' etc.? If so, can you share what the precise Hebrew phrase was which was translated that way?" And now here's his reply. "My reply is no, I definitely did not reach a firm conclusion to the effect. And yes, I think that at most the markings are open to multiple interpretations. I certainly cannot make any connection between the English phrase you cited and any Hebrew expression I can think of." End quote. First and foremost, what's significant here in this third email is that Professor Bunis makes very clear that he never endorsed that complex sentence Pastor Major claimed that he agreed with. He also alludes to how his less than firm suggestion that Israel might appear on the pew was rooted more in Benaiah's highlights than the markings themselves. And I can certainly understand that, as, for example, what might look like an Ashuri Lamed from Benaiah's highlights will not look like such without those highlights. Now, I'm not attributing some sort of deception to Benaiah. I'm just saying the way he highlighted the pew, it's easy to see how someone else might see something that isn't actually there. And I would say unwittingly, including on Benaiah's part, unwittingly. That aside, whatever the case, to sum up, that Boom Church Panel's portion on David Bunis was the part of the discussion that generated by far the most excitement. It convinced more than a few people that a scholar had definitively settled the matter. Pastor Majors himself said there was nothing more to say after that. But now we know that Professor Bunis's position was badly misrepresented. Before I close, on a lighter note, on a more fun note, permit me to share that when I read that Bunis initially told Majors that the text looked to him more like Arabic, I thought to myself, man, I wish Majors had shared that fun detail. Whatever the case, on the topic of Arabic, I'm guessing that some might find interesting that last email, including a portion which made mention of a person quite familiar with Arabic, not seeing any Arabic on the relevant pew, although to be fair, it says the same person didn't see any Hebrew either. Nonetheless, that's worth mentioning because it's my understanding that both Pastor Majors and Pastor Kelly Richardson intend to release a video soon, perhaps as early as this weekend, seeking to refute the claim that Arabic appears on the pews. While I'm not yet sure if they intend to attribute that position to me or just to the staff of the church down there in Savannah, if they try to present that as my position, they'll be attacking a straw man. Both of them have made clear that they saw my appearance on Berean TV back on November 15th, which was the previous Sunday, 1 week before that Boom Church panel discussion. And so as they both watched my appearance on Berean TV, it seems worthwhile to close this out with a few clips clips of me on that show repeatedly clarifying that I was not actually arguing for Arabic appearing on the pews. Rather, I was offering a hypothetical case as part of a thought experiment to show what an attempt to argue for language in the pews should look like. Remember that at the time of that discussion, to my knowledge, no one had made a public case for Hebrew on the pews. And I mean by actually getting into the markings themselves. Benaiah was the first to do so. Benaiah Israel was the first to do so shortly thereafter. But as up to the point of that discussion on Berean TV, I didn't know of anyone who had made a public attempt. And by the way, let me say again that that's why I appreciate Benaiah's efforts so much, even if I don't agree with his conclusions. So I'll close here and I'll just say that I really look forward to the comments of others. And then I'll just simply let the relevant clips close out the show. God bless.
So as a bit of a thought experiment, let's see what this approach might look like if one were attempting to demonstrate that Arabic was present in the markings on those pews. Now, as a disclaimer, I'm not actually endorsing the claim that Arabic appears in these pews, but nonetheless, let's just go through an example, a thought experiment, as I said.
Sean brought out a good point. Now, because people could be confused with what you said with the Arabic, is it definitely Arabic, or you were trying to put a hypothetical out there?
Yes, precisely. The latter. It was a hypothetical case for Arabic. I do not believe there are any. I do not believe there's any discernible language in the pews. Of course, I'm willing to be corrected. But what I was showing is that if people want to say there's a language in the pews, I was showing how a person should go about attempting to prove that. They should get into the markings on the pews, and that's what I did. And what I'll say is, while my case for Arabic was purely hypothetical, Rodney Frederick says, what evidence leads him to believe this is Arabic on the benches? I don't believe it's actually Arabic, but what I was showing is that there's a better case for Arabic than there is for Hebrew if there is a case, if there's a language on there. It was, again, a thought experiment. It was to show what proper methodology should be. Do you want me to read Oshaya's comment?
Keep going, yes. I put them up.
So what language does the guest, Abu, in his naive experience, think the writing on the pews? I don't think I hear the answer. Correct me if I'm wrong. My answer is I do not believe there is any discernible language on those pews, but my case for Arabic, which was a hypothetical case, it was to show how people should argue for language on the pews. If you're going to claim there's language on the pews, get into the actual markings and start showing discernible language, the distinguishing features of discernible language. That's what I did, and I did it in just a few minutes. And, I feel that no one has done that for Hebrew. No one has actually made a case for Hebrew, which involves actually looking at the markings on the pews.
So I don't know if y'all caught it in there, but literally Bunis stipulates that he was looking at images that had darkening on them. Or they had darkened the pews or whatnot, or they darkened the images so they could see certain things or whatnot. So whether they filled them in, etc., whether it's that picture that Kelly drew, the same thing again. They're coming out saying, "Oh, we just sent blank." No, you didn't just send blank stuff, fam. Eunice is saying he's seeing a blank pew, and he's seeing people darkening on it. So again, we're talking about special pleading, right? And so here's an example. Here's an example.
See, I see your ace of diamond, Garfield. See, many of you guys don't understand. I'm from North Jersey, and some of you guys probably remember the 3-car Monty. Some call it 3-car Marley. You have the ace between two kings, and you just on the streets, doing a little hustle, right? But I see the ace. I see the ace of diamonds. So I spotted the ace of diamonds a year ago, but with my integrity, I didn't want things to get way out of left field. So I pulled back and retained my peace, held my peace. until I exposed the diamond of one of the Roman Catholic that literally says that he wrote is superimposed the image that he sent to the professor, his professors that he reached out to guide the eyes, to manipulate their approach. So as I exposed him, now let me show you your ace of diamond. Let me show you your ace of diamond. That's right. He wrote it. He said in his own words, he wrote what he wanted the pews to say. He said he wrote it on there to guide the eyes, so to speak. So you're sending a letter or an email asking if it can translate or make out what's writings on some images from the pews that you've never been. I've been there many of times. But these are supposed to be scholars. These are supposed to be linguists. These are supposed to be experts. But you have to superimpose what you want them to see. And you literally said, this person literally says it. I saw that ace of diamond from the very beginning. But kept my mouth shut because I didn't want things to get even uglier. But now, Garfield, guess what? I'm going to show the people your ace of diamond. Family, let me show you the ace of diamond. Let me maximize the screen. And family, this is why we have to listen with intelligence. Oh, yeah, that's right. He put footnotes on an email. He sent the email to these professors to give the impression that these are groups. He's part of this big group. And he wrote in there, put footnotes, everything. But then they started bullying the professors that we brought to the table. And then they bullied them and then came up with all kinds of foolishness just so that he can set up his that he manipulated. Oh, yeah. But these are supposed to be Christians. These are supposed to be Roman Catholic. These are supposed to be Muslims. And we also have someone that's supposed to be in the truth. Matter of fact, one of the guys that was in the truth, supposed to be in the truth, decided to team up with them too. And you guys probably going to recognize this right here. You're probably going to recognize this. Let me play a reminder of one of the guys who was dealing with leading our people into ancestral worship, worshiping a god by the name of Nzambi. Decided to join that group as well. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I think this is his music here.
Take that back to church. 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 Take that back to church.
Yep. So that dovetails into a whole nother set of special pleading. Right. So we got the special pleading about sending a picture to blank pew and then another one with highlights, which I'm guilty of as well. Like with Brian Kirshen, I sent a blank picture of the pew and then I sent the picture that the hand drawn markings in yellow that Pastor Kelly made. So we all three of us did the same thing. All three of us did the same thing. So that's special pleading for it not to count for everybody. But this is where it dovetails into the next part. So again, you see at the end of this where he brings up Issachar and talks about Nzambi, right? So here we go.
Greetings, Israel. This is another teaching by Teo Ministries. So today we're going to talk about the Father's name, Yah, Yahweh, Yahuwah. What is his name? Do we have any evidence that can lead us to what his name is. Okay, now we're going to look into some evidence provided to us by a book titled Hebrewisms of West Africa. If that is not part of your library, I highly recommend it. It's a very good read. I would say one thing. Now, this is not getting on those who use the Yiddish brew language, but the Yiddish brew is a pet peeve of mine, so I'm just putting it out there, right? So, if you watch our teachings, we lean toward the Hebrew being actually of the Bantu language, right? And all the information that we put together. I actually did a video on similarities of the Bantu language with the Hebrew language, but I had some audio problems with it, so most of you probably haven't seen it. So I may have to redo that since I'm doing this video. But it is documented that the Bantu language has many similarities. So, I have pet peeves with words like mishpoha, and I know a lot of people use it, but okay, that's Turkish origin that comes from Europe, that comes from Yiddish, right? Mishpoha, even words like Ruach HaKodesh, right? That is not Hebrew. That is Yiddish brew. Okay, yeah, HaKodesh, even Shalom, right? That is Yiddish brew, right? The more accurate is probably Salama, right? Used by the Arabs, used by the East African Jews, the Falasha, used by many South African groups as a piece, right? Salama. So if you notice, we've used that. But mishpoha is not something black folks say. That's my pet peeve. Not getting on you guys. I won't get on you if you use it, but it's not our language. Okay. So this is the symbol of the Father's name. It's often translated by modern scholars as Yahweh, and some scholars as Yahuwah, right? But after reading Hebrewisms of West Africa, there's another name you should consider. Now, in the Bantu world, you'll see some brothers online, they use the name Nzambi. And even though you can't really tie that back to, what we find in the Gentile translations, right? Like Yah. I've been seeking Yahweh, something close to that, to see where the translation ties come in, right? And then in Zombie is really not close at all. I'm not saying it's not related, because I'll show you why it is. But as far as the original language, I think it's closer to the Ashanti language or the Akan people. And so this could be translated, and you'll see why, as Yami. Okay, and Yami is the god of the Akan people of Ghana, right? This is part of their language, and it means he who knows and sees everything, and omniscient, omnipotent, right? The everlasting God. There's even a translation that refers to him as the one that's highest of all, the most high, right? So we're going to get into that some more. We're going to look at the book Hebrewisms of West Africa, and we're going to see what we can find. But let's continue. So before we get into Hebrewisms of West Africa, we're going to look at this writing, the Gifford Lectures, over 100 years of lectures on Natural Theology, Chapter 5, Worship of the Sky in Africa. Okay, so here, I wanted to read this to you. Among the Ashanti, the sky god Yami, Anyami, or Yami, the N is silent, is the greatest of the gods. The same name of the god is known to many widely separated tribes. Among the Twi-speaking people, the Ashanti are by far the most powerful and the most famous. They regard the sky and earth as their two great deities. But unlike the tribes of Upper Senegal, they rank the sky above the earth. He is indeed the greatest of their gods, the supreme beings. Now, they only have one God, but this is the Gentiles translating it like this. His name is, in the Twi language, is Anyami, the Shining One, shortened into Yami, or lengthened into Anyakopan or Yakopan. These names are applied both to the deity and to the sky. The Twi Negro conceives of the visible sky as animated. The firmament is, as it were, the body, or at least the abode of the deities, who is its soul. It is remarkable that the same name for the deity occurs in the languages of widely separated tribes of the Bantu stock in Western Africa. Thus, the Douala, it is Yambi. In the language of Angola, it is Nzambi or Zambi. In Herero, it is Ndayambi. And similar names occur in many intermediate languages. In the language of the Gas of the Gold Coast, the name both of the sky and of the sky god is Yanmo. So they have different variations of the name among the Bantu tribes, but they all have the same deity. All of them describe him as the omnipotent one, the all-knowing, invisible God, right? And that he's holy, he's perfect, and without error, and without sin. That's their God, and that's how they describe him.
So again, fam, this is special pleading, right? So Nyame and Nzambi are the same God. They're the same name used by two different people. Two different people. You got people in Angola that use Nzambi. In the Congo, they use Nzambi in their language. And then we have the Ashanti in Ghana and other people who use Nyame. Special pleading, fam. Special pleading. I've already said, I brought this up here about the language rules that apply to that they apply to Arabic that they would not apply to Hebrew. And as somebody who affirms both being on the pews, I found this to be extremely inconsistent. And again, another form of special pleading. But I'm gonna make another video about that. And I'm gonna wrap this up here and just remind everybody that, again, special pleading is not scholarship. And fallacious arguments are not facts. We should not expect, as adults, people to take special pleading or fallacious arguments seriously. We wouldn't expect it from our children. Why should we expect adults to take us seriously as adults? So with that, family, appreciate you for your time. Hope that was edifying. Hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. And with that, I say peace and love.
I like the way this feel, yeah. Let my soul cry, yeah, yeah, yeah. Minister, we gonna speak from the heart on this one. Hey, I'm perfect. performing lyrical funerals, no obituary. I killed your boy and brought him back to life, pet cemetery. My anointing not based on attendance at a seminary. Scarlet witches, they attracted to the visionary. Everywhere I go, I bring the word with me, missionary. Soldier drafted in the war machine, military. Pay attention, what I'm saying to you, legendary. You got the demeanor of a front desk secretary. That mean you take the calls, but you don't make the calls. That's why you hate, cause ain't nothing fake about me at all. Now I dare you try to say that with a straight face. My delivery in tip-top great shape. I'm too advanced for you, light years, space age. No evolution for you cavemen, stone age. I'm a thoroughbred, rock solid. I came from the bottom to the top, rock climbing. I grew up in the hood, pros and cons. That's that full court pressure when the avalanche roll out that stretch. Why can't you see it's not logical? And you live diabolical. Boy, your point of view smaller than the hair follicle molecule. This for all of them that follow you, smoking all of them barbecue. When I pull up, your voice on correct itself with no auto-tune. I got a whole nother level that I can enter whenever I gotta deal with the devil. I pick a whole nother method. I hear a whole lot of yapping. They wanna see my reaction. Really out here in the community making it happen. I don't really think they understand the dilemma. They ain't looking at the man in the mirror. I can't say it any clearer. The plan is very simple. It's time to start playing in the temple. Before somebody come and put the can on your temple. Reaching like a baby with his hand for the nipple. The Grand Reaper coming with his hand on the sickle. In the van coming with a ram with it. With the van coming get him. I am so glad that I changed up. Made it out of where I came from. Watch for the slide and the hook of the slow ball, fastball, and that change up. That ghetto lifestyle, it changed us. Go back to visit, it ain't changed much. Only difference is now the way that my brain process information. And Satan, but after my license, day one, let me say something. Only reason that I'm still alive today because God's grace is amazing. Just another raisin in the sun. Dream deferred when things occurred. Now you getting served right on the curb like a lemonade stand. I just gave you the benediction, let the whole church say amen.